Let's talk about it. It's the greatest podcaster to ever exist, the greatest YouTuber to ever to be. Apex Sapien. I'm going to tell you how to build the perfect relationship that will last an eternity. That will last a lifetime. For as long as you guys are alive, you will always have a wonderful, great relationship if you follow these proper instructions. But you got to listen and follow the instructions correctly. See, let me explain something. As a man who's a bachelor, I'm fucking tired of it. People tell you this bachelor life is great. This shit sucks, nigga. This shit sucks. The only niggas who tell you bachelor life is great is niggas who have shitty ass marriages or niggas who are scared to actually be in a real world relationship. Any man that's been living as a bachelor and is husband minded fucking hates this shit. It's an eternity of just fucking boredom, of just prosperity, productivity, and boredom. That's it. Because at a certain level, you get tired of just dealing with random dates. Like at a certain point, it just becomes, oh my gosh, the same fucking rerun of just different girls, of like Asian girls, white girls, Latina girls. Eventually, like, can I just find somebody that can just deal with for the rest of the time? And you kind of realize when you become like a business owner or a boss that you don't want to keep hiring new employees. You don't want to keep going through the same bullshit with different women. It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to be at level one forever. Let me get to level 2, 3, 4, 5. What can we build? So when I started to realize this, that I'm looking for something of longer longevity, like I'm looking for something that goes 20 to the rest of my fucking life years, I got to start moving differently. I got to start thinking about relationships differently. And this is when I came up with the perfect strategy. The fucking perfect strategy if you want to have a great long-term relationship that's going to last the fucking distance. See, my foolproof plan to get lifetime commitment and loyalty from your future spouse, there's about 5 steps, 6 steps actually. And each step is very, very intricate and important in order for this shit to fucking maintain order through the rest of your life. But if you skip any of these steps, you're going to fuck yourself. So let's go ahead and start with step number 1. Step number 1 is, how do you spot a candidate? Well, this is the most important aspect of the game. And that aspect is the girl's going to choose you. See, what you're going to realize is after a certain level, you got to stop chasing ass. Ass is not going to stop chasing. You got to attract. And the best way to attract is to do the work upon yourself to make yourself a desirable candidate to want to be somebody who wants to be married. But it starts with the mindset. You have to put yourself in a position where I am a husband. I'm ready to take on a fucking lady to be my long-term fucking partner so we can go and build a wonderful fucking life for ourselves, so we can go out and enjoy the world, have some grandkids, be rich, live in our fucking nice mansion in the state, and watch the grandbabies grow up. That has to be your vision. You can't be on this wish-washy like, oh, maybe if I find somebody and then she's wife quality. No, nigga, you have to build your wife. I'm going to tell you that right now. You have to build your wife. And the first step to be able to build a wife is that she has to find you attractive and come to you. Because it has to be a choice in her mind. You can't create the urgency for her. She has to see it and want it. If she doesn't want to see, if she doesn't see it and want it, it's never going to work because you'll be chasing a fucking rabbit that's going nowhere. She has to want to follow the lead of whatever you're fucking preaching. So in order to do that, you got to be you, man. You got to be unauthentically you. Don't give a goddamn. Be a fucking man. Just don't give a shit what you say. Act like yourself. Be fucking, if you're a rough guy, you're a fucking rough guy. If you're a cowboy, you're a cowboy. If you're a nerd, you're a fucking nerd. But be 100% you, because what's going to happen is she's watching. See, chances are your wife has already seen you and she's been studying and watching and she's waiting to make a move. And when she makes that move, it's because she's fucking in her mind, she's already made a commitment. That's the guy. I'm going for him. I'm taking my chance. I'm going for it. I've been watching, studying. He's single. He's available. He's funny, charismatic, in shape, has a business. He's doing all this fucking shit. I want him. And then when she has that idea that I want him, it means you're starting off from a great position because you're starting off with the ball. So it's your ball to keep. You got possession of the ball. Don't fucking lose it. Number 2, this is a very critical part, but you have to troll her. You have to troll her. You have to try to get her, scare her away. And this is important. This is a very important factor because it can't be too easy for her. If it's too easy, she's not going to appreciate it. And at some point down the line, it's going to fucking fall apart. So you have to troll. You have to make it a little bit difficult. And I got a video on my link, how to troll yourself to a wifey. Because here's the truth. I'm a firm believer. If you're that man, if you're really that man, like if you're really that fucking guy, like the guy that everybody wants to be, the man's man, the guy that all women want, and all the guy that all men desire to be like, if you're trolling or you do some stupid shit or whatever the fuck, most women look at it as endearing and like quirky and funny. But if you're an ugly fucker and it's just not, you're not good looking and you're not charismatic, then it's gonna be looked at as a fucking weirdo and they're not gonna want anything to do with you. So it's very important to try and utilize this fucking trolling method, because by utilizing this trolling method, you get an understanding: is she really rocking with you for the energy, or is she trying to get something out of you? Because that energy is a very real thing. You want the energy to be right. If she's fucking with the energy, you got a good woman on your hands, which means she's willing to go a distance because she's like, whatever, fuck it. He might do some weird, quirky, dumb shit, but I still fucking like him. And I'll rock with it. And also, it gives you another thing. You got to understand, time is always on your side. So no matter what you do, as long as you ain't kill nobody, rape anybody, or do anything fucking super heinous that will likely put you in jail, everything's pretty much forgivable if you're that guy. So it also gives you more motivation to keep working out, keep doing what you're doing, keep staying in shape, and keep being a fucking savage. That way, she's like, oh my God, he's still improving. Fuck it, I'll let that shit slide. Whatever. If I can just be with him, I'll let it slide. And that's really what you got to get from your wife, is that she's willing to let shit slide. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do on your end. And that's a very key component to a long-term relationship lasting. Because your wife can't be fucking getting an attitude. Well, she can get an attitude, but she can't be threatening divorce or threatening to leave you over all the stupid little shit that you're going to do. Because listen, if you're a savage and you're just a rebel like I am, there's sometimes you're going to do some shit that's just like, she's going to be like, what the fuck? Like, Apex, why? I just felt like it, baby. And she's like, oh my God, now I got to do damage control. And secretly, she likes doing the damage control. She likes that because it gives her some excitement. It gives her something to do. But you have to get in that point where she's all right with letting shit slide because you're taking care of all the other bases. It's like the 90-10 rule. She gets 90% of what she wants, but the 10% is you just fucking constantly testing her, putting her in a fucking a semi-bind. Number 3, once you start doing that trolling shit, you got to sit back and observe. Watch the body language. You got to read the girl. You got to be able to read. Don't listen to words. What I've learned as I aged, when it comes to women, don't listen to words. If she's talking, she's lying. They don't even know what words are. I truly don't believe they believe what words are. What you read is the body language. You're reading tonality. You're reading the eyes. You're reading the skin. See if they're blushing. You read the little subtle things. Read how they interact within a room and how your presence, and you're testing out the environment. You're testing things and looking for subtle clues that, is she still interested? Does she get jealous when I'm talking to other women? Is she listening in conversation? Is she purposely trying to ignore me? You look at all those things to see, is she looking at you as the center of attention in her mind? Because when you're the husband, you really are the center of her attention. Like, all her attention is primarily going to you until you get kids, and then you fall by the wayside. Then you're like number 2. But even then, you should still be number 1 if you're handling business, doing what man's supposed to do. But that observing body language, that really sitting back and watching, seeing how she looks at you, how she watches you, when you guys interact, what is the language, the tone, that shit means a lot. You got to pay attention to that. Fuck the words. The words don't mean anything. Words are irrelevant. Listen, whatever she tells you, irrelevant. Eyes, body language, posture, fucking blushing, all the other bullshit. That's the more important aspect. Look at the timing and positioning. Women's timing, positioning is what tells you everything about them. If they put themselves in position around certain times that you operate around things, they're trying to get you. They're trying to get to you. Pay attention to that shit. Very critical. And then 4, once that you have pretty much determined, okay, she's feeling me, she's into me, this looks like this might be something, now it's time for you to set the offer. And this is the key critical point, very key, because this is the point of no return. Well, I'm not going to say the point of no return, but this is like once you go through this door, it's very hard to walk back out this door. So take your time and really study, because trust me, she ain't got no better options. I'm telling you right now, most chicks don't got options, especially in today's age. There's not a lot of men that are marriage-minded that have the actual revenue, resources, mental maturity to actually plan out the rest of their fucking lives. Most guys don't do that. Most guys are only like thinking about next Friday when they get a paycheck and they can go out to go get some pussy. That's it. Very few guys are thinking 20, 40, 60 to the end of my fucking life, to my grandchildren's life. Most guys are not thinking that far. So that's your advantage, that you have the ability to fucking think. So use that to your advantage. So now it's time to bring the proposition, bring the offer. There are 3 important questions you need to ask this lady to see if she's really ready to be a wife. Question number 1 is, you ask her, does she want the 3 things that all women desire, which is safety, physical safety, financial security, and loved ones around her? This is key because you can't just ask her, does she want a man? Because she doesn't know what that means. Most women have bad experiences with men. So you have to break it down, the outcome. What is the outcome that you want? Well, do you want to be safe? Yeah, all women want to be safe. Do you want to be financially secure? Like, do you want to make sure your retirement, your savings, all that shit, you don't have to work if you don't have to? Is all that good for you? She's going to be like, yeah, I don't want to work, because most bitches don't want to work. And then 3, do you want to be around loved ones? Well, that means, like, do you want people that are around you that fucking love you and cherish you? So that kind of means like family. You're insinuating family, a husband, blah, blah, blah. But you just say loved ones. 99.99999% of women are going to say they want that, because that is like biologically how women are ingrained. The next question you follow up with is, do you find men attractive? This is very important, because if she doesn't find men attractive, she's a lesbian, then this is all for naught. What's the fucking point of even talking about it? So you find out, does she find men attractive? She says, does she find men attractive? Yes, I find men attractive. Okay. The third question is, if you had an attractive man who was willing to help you get those 3 things that you want, which is financial security, physical safety, and loved ones around you, would you be interested in listening to an offer he has for you? 99% of the time, unless a woman's dumb, she's going to say, well, yeah, why would I not want to have an attractive man who can provide those 3? And then you introduce what you're offering. You say, hey, look, so I'm a man. I'm looking for a wife. Part of my duty as a husband is to present my wife with the ability to be financially secure, physically safe, which is me defending you, and to help you get loved ones around you, which is creating a family. I want to have those 3 things. We have mutual interests. You need a man, I need a wife. I mean, you need a husband, I need a wife. So how about this? If I gave you an offer that made sense to you, would you be willing to be my wife? Chances are she's going to look at you, she's going to say, huh, that's interesting. Nobody's ever asked me that. Chances are she's going to say yes, because most women never been talked to this serious before. So then you provide the next step. And this is very key. Because most guys, when they get married, they don't actually fucking do this huge fucking step, which is the most important step of any fucking long-term relationship. You got to really not just fly by the seat of your pants. You got to really think this shit out. The most important aspect of any relationship is the friendship. There is no relationship without the friendship. If you guys are not friends, if you guys do not get along outside of fucking sex, why are you guys even together? That's a good question. Nobody understands that. Most people just most guys, they plan only to have sex, and most women only plan to the wedding. That's why most relationships are dead for most guys after they have sex, and that's why most relationships are dead after women have the marriage or have the wedding. So if you want your relationship to survive past the sex and the wedding, you need to fucking plan that out. You got to plan it out. And see, it's so crazy that we plan out so many other things in our life, but we don't plan out the most important thing, which is who we build a family out with. We don't take the time to really sit down and talk. Okay, what does the end of life look like for you? What do you want? Do you want to have a huge mansion? Do you want to have a lake house? Like, what are you looking for? What do you want out of this life? It's nobody ever talks about this in the first couple of dates. So if you could separate yourself from other contenders, which is pretty much non-existent for most women, you separate yourself so much when you ask a woman, hey, look, what does the end of your life look like? And she'll have to think, because most women don't even think past fucking today. They can only think like past the next minute. They can't even think past the next minute. They can't think past yesterday. So you ask her, what does the end of your life look like? When you're on your deathbed, what do you want to see? And that brings reality to them. Because nobody's ever asking that question, what do you see when you're on your deathbed? Well, most girls will tell you, well, on my deathbed, I want to be surrounded by all the people I love in my home, in my bed, looking at all my grandkids, around my kids, and just being surrounded by loved ones before I pass away. Okay, well, that's what I want too. So we got to figure out, how do we get to that point? So the first thing is, How do we get an estate? How do we make money so we can be able to survive and have a nice ass home so we can fit all these fucking people? Because right now we're living in fucking apartments. I don't want to live in an apartment forever. I want to eventually go own a home, own my own land, own a farm. So I have blankety blank blank blank. I have these businesses. Would you be interested in working with me to help build these businesses so we have something to take care of ourselves with that we own? So we don't have to work for anybody else. So we can show up when we want to show up, take vacations when we want to take vacations. Blase, 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 blase. If you present that to a chick, she's like, huh? Wait, you have a business, so I can work for the business? Yeah, so you don't have to go to your office anymore. You can work for me. Well, not really work for me, but you're working for us. We're working as a team because what is mine is yours and what is yours is yours. We all work together. It all goes in one fucking pot. So we can have that big ass estate. So when we get ready to die, our kids and grandkids are all around us. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. I would love to do that. So now you have equity. Now she has a vision. She has a vision in mind. So now she's not just flying by the seat of her pants. She has an understanding and an idea of, oh, if I stick with this man and we work together and I follow the fucking plan, I'll be able to have what I want at the end of my fucking life. So I won't be a miserable, sad chick with cat ladies and drinking wine. And that's what you're trying to preach to them. I'm trying to show you, look at the examples of what happens when you don't plan this shit out. Now look at the examples when we do plan out. Do you want the example of us when we plan things out, or do you want the fucking willy-nilly doing all your girlfriends do, which is sad, miserable, no man, no marriage? Or do you want the marriage, the great life, the grandbabies, the big-ass house, kicking it with the fucking grandbabies, having fun, and living life like we should be? 99% of the chance, women are going to fucking go with the one that makes sense. And so the goal is you need to start having conversations, real fucking conversation where you get things down concrete so you guys have an idea and a structure for how your life is going to be played out. So from the kids, what schools do we want our kids? Our kids to be homeschooled. You don't want to fucking have kids and try to figure it out as you fucking go. You want to have a general outlining and a general plan for what you're going to do with your kids. How many kids are you going to have? How many bedrooms do we going to have for how many boys or girls are we going to try to shoot for? How many kids do we want to shoot for? Blah, 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 blah. What days and what years are we going to have the kids? Are we going to have them back to back to back? You want to take a year to acclimate, or you want to have all of them as soon as possible? Are we going to get surrogates? Do you need this? Midwives, housewives, your grandma, should we move here? You need to start having all these things fucking planned out so you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. So then you can also make contingencies. So you start getting to deadlines and you start realizing, okay, we're not going to be able to afford that house. Here's some things that I need to shift around so we can be able to do that. So now you're working as a team. You have a vision. You have a fucking playbook. And if you got a playbook, it means you got a higher chance of success because then you can practice what your plays are. So that way you're fucking going to the game successful. So now when you're going through life, you and your girl are on the same fucking track long before you guys even get into this deep, long-ass relationship, before you guys realize, oh, we don't know what we're doing. We're just fucking trying to figure it out as we go. Fuck figuring it out as we go. Create a plan. Build a friendship. Execute on the fucking plan. Love comes after, because love comes with fucking time, because you guys begin to trust each other, love each other, because you guys appreciate each other, because we're both making sacrifices to get to where we want to fucking be. And that's how you create a fucking great long-term relationship, by being productive and create a friendship and stop basing everything off of fucking sex. Because if you base everything on sex, you're gonna be fucking miserable. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this helps some people out. Best of luck to you.